in the carnivore community, you often hear people say, eat until you're full. But if you're new on the carnivore diet, you might not be sure exactly of when you're full or know how to do this quite like other people do. People tend to not count macros, they don't count calories or any of that stuff, right? And they just know how much to eat. But again, if you're new, you might not know that. Or maybe you just want to know more about how to do this properly. Make sure that you're, doing it right and feel more confident that you're eating it, the right foods and so forth in the right amount. Or maybe you're having trouble with losing weight and, struggling altogether with the diet, and you need to look at things a little more and make sure that you're doing it right. So that's what this video is about today. I'm going to talk to you about the amount of protein and fat that you need to eat on the diet. And from there, then you should be able to go and get to the point that you're able to say, yeah, I don't even count anything anymore. I just know that this is how much I need to eat. I get full and I don't need to get until I'm hungry. All right. So, first of all, everybody looks at this as a high fat diet, and that is true. It is high fat. But the key, the really important thing is getting protein right. Um, you should be eating about 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight. Now, the first piece with this is, okay, what is my ideal body weight? It's going to depend, obviously, for everybody based on their height and so forth. You can get really technical and find a calculator that will figure out based on your height, your age, if you're male or female or whatever, a few different things. It'll figure out your actual ideal body weight. But you might also have an idea of what your ideal body weight should be. So from there, that's how you can figure out how much protein you should be eating in a day. Now, remember, it's going to change slightly for everybody. First of all, it's going to depend on if you are very active or you're not active at all, or maybe somewhere in the middle. So when I say you should eat 1.5 grams to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight, it's going to depend kind of on you, where you fit in that spectrum. Now, if you exercise a lot, pretty much exercise every day, all the time and stuff, you're going to be on that higher end of that spectrum, closer to the 2 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight every day, right? If you don't really move around very much or anything, you're going to be more on the lower end of the 1.5 kilograms or 1.5 grams. But again, remember, everybody is different and you got to tweak it a little bit. It's a good starting point, but you have to tweak it a little bit to find the right spot for you. So that is the key. And I'll go into a calculator a little bit, the calculation of what it would be like. But that's the key, is to get the protein right. Once you have gotten protein right, then is where you fill yourself up the rest of the way with fat. As you go on, that's easier to know how much you need and have it ahead of time. But when you're new, you probably want to make sure you have the right amount of protein there and some fat, which is mostly going to be the animal fat, maybe a little bit of butter, that type of thing. And make sure you're eating all that protein. And then if you're still hungry or not full at least, then you add a little bit more fat, whether it's butter, maybe you can add some bacon or some eggs, which aren't really, really high protein, but they have a good fat content. Something, though, to fill you up that's going to be mostly fat, then that will fill you up the rest of the way. Make sure that you are fully full, that you really feel full. And then you don't eat again until you're truly hungry. And, you know, in some cases, if you're not very active, that's going to probably be once a day that you're eating. But if you're more active, then it's probably going to be closer to twice a day, because you're going to get hungry again, most likely, especially if you're lifting weights and stuff like that. All right, so let's look at the calculations. We'll start with a low end, 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight. And let's say that my ideal body weight was 250 pounds, which I'm a pretty tall guy. So that's pretty close to ideal. So that's what we'll go with. That would come out to 170 grams of protein per day. On the higher end, if I was very active, 2 grams of protein per day, that would come to 226 grams of protein per day. So you can see I should be somewhere between 170 to 226 grams of protein per day. And when I look at what I basically eat in a day, I'm getting pretty much around that 170, 175 range normally, maybe 180. I don't normally go higher than that. And that's probably good, because when I think about it, for the last several months, I have not been exercising very much at all of anything, maybe a little bit of walking, and that is it. So that fits me pretty well, and it seems to be right. Even though we're fairly similar in terms of our size and everything and our amount of activity we're doing, we could be a little bit different. So that's why you got to be able to tweak it, but it's a good baseline. And then from there, you can kind of tweak it and make sure that you get things right.